Hello, Mark Crossfield here with a comparison between the Titleist 910 D3 and a 910 D2. Let's get into it. So guys, what we're going to do today, I've got the 910 D3 in a 9.5 and I've got the 910 D2 in a 9.5 loft. I'm going to set them both up in the A1 setting, and I'm going to use my preferred shaft of choice. It's the ProForce V2. This is the V2, so we're looking at what we got here. It's a 66 gram stiff flex shaft. It's one of my favourite shaft in this club. Now we're going to start with the 910 D3 in the A1 settings. That's the neutral setting with a 9.5 loft. So for all intents and purposes, this club is sitting square with a 9.5 degree loft with a stiff V2 in. Got TrackMan on here, and we're going to compare the difference in the launch angle and the spin off the face between the D2 and the D3. Now the D3 is what I'm using at the moment, and I do like the D3 for the way it goes out at a little bit lower. So let's give it a couple of whacks. And you're going to hear TrackMan spurt out some figures. I'm going to talk about them as we get hit. So this is the 910 D3, the smaller headed, the 445 head size, which I prefer that slightly smaller head. Here we go. Okay, it's a pretty nice hit, really going forward, which I like.
Vertical launch 7.7 degrees. Launch spin 2751 RPM.
Okay, so it's a 7.7 launch. And it's a 2,751 spin off the face. I really felt like I was pushing that one forwards as well, so I like the fact that's going to carry okay and then run a little bit as well. So let's give it another wallop. So I just got a little bit more lift on that one. I wanted to try and fly that one, just going downwind or something.
Vertical launch 8.9 degrees. Launch spin 3316 RPM.
So this is what I like about the D3 for my golf. Excuse me, is that it's launching around 8 to 9 degrees. I can keep it lower if I want to, and I can get a little bit more launch on it. That one's spun at 3,300 revs. Let's just give it one more hit. So there's no danger of this driver ballooning up in the air, which for me sometimes some of the bigger headed drivers do just go up. When I'm getting on a windy course down here in Devon in the UK, we get a lot of golf on windy courses. It's just no good. Can't control it. I like something cutting through the air a little bit more. So let's give it one more go with the D3. I've nailed that one, so that's got up in the air, that's flying. Oops, on the back of the range.
Vertical launch 10.4 degrees. Launch spin 3011 RPM.
So I like that. It's launched up at 10, that's my highest launch, but the spin stayed down at 3,000 revs. So for me, D3 with the ProForce V2 stiff shaft is my preferred club. It's the club I'm using at the moment. I can keep it low, I can get it up in the air if I work it a little harder as well, which I like. I like its default flight of going quite forward, no ballooning up in the air kind of trajectory. So look, we're going to get the same shaft with the same, we're going to have the same loft. Let's just get the, I'll just undo this. So we're going to have a couple more hits then with, this is the D2, so the bigger headed one. Let's just set it up in an A1. There we go. So this is the 460 head size in the D2. 9.5 loft. Going to set it in the A1 setting, exactly the same shaft. So just going to show you the comparison in the launch between the two clubs. Now it's not massive, but it's enough to make me worry about this one going a little high in slight more kind of windy conditions. So putting it down on the ground, it instantly looks bigger. I personally like the look of the smaller head in the D3, but for most golfers the D2 is going to give you that little bit more confidence. So let's give this one a wallop, and I'll just show you, or TrackMan will tell us what kind of stats this one's getting. Much higher, that's really gone up for me. See what TrackMan says on that one.
Vertical launch 10.6 degrees. Launch spin 2997 RPM.
Okay, so it's 10.6 with 29 or 2,997 spin. So instantly that's launched as high as the highest launch that I got with the D3. Let's just give that another whack. Yeah, that's a nice flight. It's so much higher though. Topping out much higher.
Vertical launch 10.8 degrees. Launch spin 3920 RPM.
Okay, so this one's launching at 10 degrees consistently. That one's spun though for nearly 4,000 revs, so the board's just kind of rocketed, ballooned up into the air. So for me, it's losing distance, it's losing penetration. One more hit. I'll try and keep this one down a little bit more. So workability in the driver for this one for me just feels like less. Still went up.
Vertical launch 12.2 degrees.
I mean, that launched higher.
Launch spin 3564 RPM.
Spun less but launched higher, 12 degrees, and I was trying to keep that one down. So for me, D3 offers a little bit more workability. It defaults to quite a medium, lowish forward flight, where the D2 for me launches naturally up in the air. So if I want to get the ball a little bit higher, which for a driver for me, I find it easy to get the ball up in the air with the driver. I find it challenging to keep it going forward to not get too much height. So I'm going more D3 to try and get that more less spinny forward flight, where D2 is just getting up in the air too easily for me, and I actually find it hard to keep it down. So workability with D2 is harder, where D3 I feel like I can manoeuvre it a bit more. Playing any kind of weather. Look, both of these drivers are great. Really, we're selling more D2s than D3s because it is more user friendly. But that just gives you an idea of how the two clubs compare to each other. I hope that helps, guys. Any more questions, do post below. I'll always try and help. And thank you for watching.